Although most reinventors will consider a change in their employment status or their career, most won't act on it. I'm going to help you to see how you can act on it in this video. Now, I made the decision to reinvent myself 4 years ago. I had served in the ministry for 20 years. I was incredibly burned out. I was, thinking of all the stupid things I could be doing because of my burnout. I knew that there was something else I needed to be doing, and I decided to retire early. Now, my decision was not made lightly because I knew that I would not actually have any kind of income besides my spouse's income, and then he was also considering retiring in a few years. So there was a lot to consider when retiring. It wasn't just about career, but it was also about income. It was about what am I going to do with my time, all of those kinds of things that I had to seriously consider. And in the process, I decided to become a YouTube creator. And that is part of my reinventing process. Now, I still feel like I'm in the process of reinventing myself, but I realize also that I could help others who are thinking of making these major life decisions in the latter stages of life, like over age 50. Now, if you're younger and you're thinking about retiring early or only working a few years and then retiring, this video is really not for you. This is more for people who've been working for a while, whether you've been in the same career or 20 years or not, and what to do, how to, think about this, structure this, decide what you need to do. Now, in this video, you will hear some bells ringing in the background. I think the mic's going to pick that up. Now, that is because I have the door cracked open for my cat, so he can go outside. It's a very breezy day, and so all the bells on the porch are ringing. I want you to listen to the video and learn something, but also experience some meditation. So in the description below and in the comments, I have a timestamp where you can, if you want to, move on ahead to the meditation process. And I really debated about this. Should I include this in the video? Should I do it later on? But I decided to go ahead and include this in the video. Now, I may make some other meditation videos to help you out. Now, I know some of you are going to say, oh, it's a bunch of woo-woo, whatever. But let me tell you, meditating and contemplating and just being still and being in the moment will help you to make any kind of decision, not just a career change, should I retire early kind of decision, but any kind of decision. So I find it very, very helpful, and I hope that you will too. Now, in this video, I want to specifically address retiring early, whether you are in a long-term career or you've just been working different jobs. I just want to really tackle that question because when it comes to reinventing yourself, that's often a question people ask, especially if you're over 50. Should I make a career change? Should I retire early? What do I need to do with the rest of my life? And so I want to help you make a decision of whether or not you should join what's called the Great Retirement. Now, I've done a lot of research on this. A lot of the articles that I've read about the Great Retirement or even the Great Resignation, some people call it the GR. And a lot of times what's happened is people have been affected by the pandemic in certain ways, and whether it's out of fear or out of what's happened in the workplace or their specific career, they've had to make some career change, or they're really seriously considering making a career change. And so I think this is a very timely video, whether you have, just thinking about reinventing yourself, but you don't know where that is, or you seriously are considering retiring right now, even though you're not quite 62 or 65 or 67 or 70 or whatever the normal time to retire is these days. So I wanted to create a video where I kind of explain a little bit about some of the things you have to consider and then give you an opportunity to really sit and think about it. And not in terms of, I gotta make a decision right now, but just let the whole process be a process and to really contemplate it. And that involves meditation, because there's not really, you can you can brainstorm, you can mind map, you can brain dump, you can do all of these things, but until you allow yourself to be still and just be present in the question and think about all the possibilities, it's hard to make that decision. Now, the purpose of this video is not to convince you to retire early or to quit your job. Let's get that out of the way. And that's not the purpose of the meditation either. But I want to give you an opportunity to really consider all of the facts and all of the things that you might not have considered in the process, and to really think about it in terms of all of parts of reinventing yourself. I just want to give you the opportunity to decide. Do I retire early? Do I change careers? Is this a part of my reinventing? And I also have to say, I can talk, I can meditate, I can give you, spout all kinds of information at you, but in the end, it's only you who makes that decision of whether or not to quit your job, to retire, to change careers. It's up to you. I want to give you the tools that will help you make that decision. Now, perhaps you are like me 4 years ago. You are part of that burned out generation, the people that are burned out or stressed out from their job. Now, the World Health Organization in 2019 defined burnout in terms of your job as stress unmanaged at work. And when I read that definition, and it really brought home to me what I was going through at that time, and that can be manifested in things such as unnatural and constant exhaustion. Check mark, I had that. Disengagement from work. You no longer feel like you are competent in what you're doing, that you don't have the ability to make, general decisions. And cynicism, which means you're just totally disengaged. It's like the other, you're observing, you're not really participating. All of those things were part of the burnout that I felt in my about 19th year of ministry, and then I knew I had to make a change. There's just no way. I had an opportunity to just simply move churches, but I knew that wasn't really going to take care of the problem. Now, much of the information about burnout comes from Jennifer Moss, who wrote a book that is entitled The Burnout Epidemic. And I invite you to check out, I have a link below if you want to check that book out as well. According to Moss, in the last 2 years, because of the pandemic, many people have felt what she calls a midlife pivot because of the burnout and the stress with the pandemic and the struggle to simply define what is important to each person. Like if you've been working for a while and all of a sudden there's a worldwide pandemic, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? What is your purpose? Are you going to continue on, or do you need to make some major life changes? And this has been very significant in the lives of a lot of people, not just in the United States, but worldwide. The pandemic has helped people to look at not just job security or money, but purpose. Now, I have to say that having money is important, but that is not the main thing. And I'll kind of address that. Well, I will address that, I will address the money situation in a little bit in this video, but I just want to tackle a few questions that you may be asking yourself. If you haven't, it's probably a good time to do that. And for many of us, going to work means being responsible. We have people who count on us. In midlife, it could mean a dependent parent. It could mean an adult child. It could mean a spouse who is unable to care for themselves or needs assistance. It could be, your grandchildren now, or even great-grandchildren, that now you're having to take care of them. So you're responsible for people, so you feel like you need to stay where you are in order to fulfill that responsibility. And in fact, even being responsible for yourself, like you have nobody else to rely on. You're responsible for the rest of your life. You don't have a spouse or a child or a parent or anybody who's going to somehow take care of you or provide some kind of income or retirement. So you have got to make sure that you're responsible for yourself and what happens in your future. So the whole idea of being responsible, whether for yourself or for others, is a lot of times the reason why you stay where you are. So even to consider, making any kind of change is not just frightening, and it is frightening, but there's a lot of pressure to not make any changes. Like you got to stay where you are. Continue to what you've been doing. Continue to what you've been doing, continue to do what you've been doing. And yet, these are the things that are happening to us. And we find ourselves in a funk or down for no reason. We just want to cry most days. We struggle with self-doubt. We feel pulled in another direction. We find ourselves unhappy in many parts of our job. We find it harder and harder to get out of bed in the morning. And living for the weekend, it's not just a cute meme or a Facebook post. It is all we can do to put one foot in front of the other. We wonder if this is all there is to life. And we struggle daily with wondering, what is my true purpose in this world? And I think that's been a big question people have asked because of the pandemic. But if you're in a situation in that your job, any of these ring, true for your situation, in the comments below, I want you to let me know what really resonates with you in what I just said. Now, I've said many times in my video that daydreaming out loud or a brain dump or mind mapping or just writing things down on paper is very cathartic. It's very helpful in making a decision. It kind of gets things out of your head that go round and round and round and puts it on paper in black and white or red and white or whatever color you're using to write with. And it kind of really helps you focus and think about what you need to do. But we can't just stop there. We can't just say, okay, I've done and I'm just brained up, there it is. We have got to act on it. And I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I did some videos on your, I guess you call it bucket list, your wish list, your goals for life. What are the 100 things that you really want to accomplish? And on my list, I put getting my eyebrow pierced. And that's something that I had wanted to do for years and years, before it was really popular to do. And so, one of the things that I had to do was I had to make a decision. All right, is this just going to be something I've written down on paper, or am I really going to do it? And I did it. And, there have been times where I'm like, oh, should I have done that? But then overall, I think I am so happy that I did that. It's very different. I get a strange reaction from some people. I'm very self-conscious about it right now. So I'm trying to kind of get over that part. It's healed very well. So I feel like, I think if I had gotten like a serious infection or something had been wrong with it, I probably would have questioned it more. But everything so far has done really well. And I feel like I took something that was on paper and I made it reality. And that is the most powerful feeling. I mean, I can't even explain how powerful that is. Hopefully you've experienced that at some point in your life. So what I'm trying to say is, don't just write it down and say, oh, it's out there, it's on paper, it's done, it's on my computer or whatever, but you have got to actually act on it. Of course, what happens a lot of times, we've written it down, we look at it, we think, oh, that's a crazy idea, or we can't see how anything's going to work out, especially if you're responsible for somebody, especially it's not just yourself, it just doesn't, it's not logical. It doesn't seem like the right thing to do. Maybe you even consider about what are other people going to think if you attempt to do, but make a change that you're thinking about doing. A lot of times what happens then, we start to panic. We get our wheels spinning. There doesn't seem to be any answers to the questions we have. We come up with all kinds of reasons, and I'm the queen of rationalizing everything. Come all kinds of reasons why we can't do what we're contemplating, why that just won't work. Not just make up excuses, but we make up excuses not to look at solutions. We fail to talk this over with people that are the most important to us. We don't go see a counselor. We don't find a coach. We don't find a trusted friend who's got our back and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. What do you think? And get their feedback. We don't go to people who've done major changes in their own lives or made significant career changes and say, okay, you did this. What are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the questions I should be asking or things I should be doing right now? We read self-help books, we watch videos like this one, but then we say, but that's not going to work for me. And then we're just stuck again and stressed out and burned out. One of the things that I realized when I decided to retire was that if I stayed where I was going to do something stupid. And when I'm saying something stupid, like, steal, cheat, commit adultery, lie, I don't know, do absolutely not something stupid. You think of whatever it could have been. And I said, this is not the road that I want to go on. I have got to do something now be proactive and to prevent this from happening. So it wasn't just, oh, I'm burnt out, but it's like, I'm so stressed out, I'm gonna do something stupid. Maybe I wasn't gonna commit a crime or fraud, but I might become an anointed hypocrite, which is, the ministry, that's worse than anything. You have to take a risk, but the potential is a huge reward. Of course, you're probably still thinking about money. I mean, we're all thinking about money at one time or another. But if you're making a career change, retiring, quitting your job, however it is, you're going to be considering, well, how can I afford to live? And that's something that I had to really tackle. And my solution has been to get a part-time job, which I love. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. To me, it's another form of ministry, but it's not with people who are just like me. And I, expanded my horizons and learned a lot about other people. And I feel like sometimes I'm working in a fair trade store. Sometimes I'm somewhere in the combination of a bartender and a pastor. People will tell me their most interesting stories. And there goes the cat. That was good. In addition, I was also fortunate that my husband was working, and then now he's retired and there's some income coming in, not a lot, but we do have some income. But also, you have to make the decision. What's more important? Is it money, or is it feeling happy and content and joy and fulfilled and having purpose? Some of the things, when I was reading one of the articles that Jennifer Moss was interviewed and talking about people in the Great Retirement, or the GR, what have other people done to survive? They decided to retire early, so what have they done? A lot of times people have, spent less money. I mean, that's happened a lot in the pandemic. People have not been traveling, or they're not been eating out as much, all those kinds of things. They're spending less money. So that's an option. People have downsized and moved to a smaller place, or sold their home and moved to an apartment, or gone to live with relatives, which is not always a great idea, but it could work depending on your situation and your relatives. A lot of people have looked at their asset gains and said, okay, I can live off of this, reallocate in some way. People have done side hustles and done other things to supplement their income in other ways. If you are in a career that has some retirement and you've been vested in it, there may be some income there, and then you do a side hustle and you can make ends meet. Now, I do suggest, and I've talked about coaching, I've talked about counseling, but if you're going to make a major financial decision, I highly recommend one of several things. Talk to your HR department if you feel comfortable doing that. I mean, you can even go in there and just say, I've got to start, I'm 50, 55, whatever. I need to start looking ahead. How am I doing in terms of my retirement? What are the benefits? Do you see any changes coming down? Should I take advantage of certain things? Just kind of a plan ahead kind of meeting is always a helpful thing. Get a financial advisor that you trust, who you can sit down and say, okay, I want to retire now or in 2 years or however long it is, and have them just kind of map out and look at all your finances. And there's also financial coaches and others that can help you out. Do not just watch this video or a YouTube video and make a financial decision, because it is a major decision. My husband and I have a financial advisor. We went to him and talked through it. Now, it was probably not his, maybe not, he probably would have convinced me if I had not been stressed out to continue working in the ministry, but I'm glad I made the change that I did. You have to also give up on the idea of being perfection. Now, perfection is overrated, and it's not something you're ever going to attain. I mean, let's just be real here. Not only that, is perfection will kill creativity every time. You cannot be truly creative if you're focused on being perfect. And I learned that in making these videos. When I started considering making YouTube videos, I really hesitated because I thought, I'm never going to be as good as these people. I'm not going to do this right. And I'm still that way. I feel like, I've done this for 3.5, 4 years, and I'm still not doing all those, I don't have the perfect video like all these other creators seem to have. And then I realized, if I strive for perfection, now I'm not saying I can't be better, but if I strive for perfection, I will lose the creativity. And I'd rather have the creativity in making videos. You know, Eventually you just have to say, okay, I'm going to upload and I'm going to do it. And you aren't going to know how it's going to work out either. Yes, I want to know the ending. I want the HEA. But it's okay not to know how it's going to work out. I always tell people reinventing is an organic process. It's probably not going to go the way you think it's going to go. The same thing with if you decide to make a career change or retire early or any of those things, quit your job, you are probably not going to end up where you think you're going to end up. And I say that in a positive way because we have a tendency to, map out our future and write the ending, and it's not there yet. We just have to live through it. You may think that you're headed one way and another door opens and you're going that way. But if you had never taken that first step and tried, you would never get anywhere. I have this saying, if you wait until you're ready, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. So why not act now? Now is the time to begin our meditation. Go to a quiet place, preferably indoors. Find a chair with a straight back, and usually it's best if it has arms, basically where you can put your feet flat on the floor. If you would like, you can light a candle, but make sure you have no other distractions like animals or a phone call. Maybe you can put your device on airplane mode while watching this. Like I said, you can light a candle while we're meditating, whatever you're most comfortable, or you can just watch this candle on the video. While you're sitting there, feel the ground under your feet. Feel the seat on your arms, your backside, your legs. Feel how much your body comes in contact with the ground and the chair. Just be present. We're going to begin the meditation with some breathing exercises before we get into some things to consider while we are here. Put aside all that is worrying you, all the constant thoughts that crowd your mind. If during the meditation some of these come up, just notice them and let them drift away. If you find yourself to be uncomfortable or have places where you need to scratch or something that happens during the meditation, notice these things. If you have to get up or if you have to stop, that's fine, but come back when you can. We're going to begin by ringing the bell. Let us breathe deeply, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Make sure your breath goes down into your belly and not just into your lungs. We're going to breathe in with a count of 5. We're going to hold with a count of 5. We're going to let the breath out with a count of 5 and hold again with a count of 5. Let's begin. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue to breathe throughout the meditation, breathing in, holding, breathing out, holding. When all else fails, concentrate on your breaths. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. When thoughts come across your mind that have nothing to do with this meditation, notice them, but then focus on your breath. Continue to breathe deeply as you understand what you are trying to decide. Should you change careers or retire early? Simply observe this question as though it is a painting or a sunset. Look at it. See the colors, the movement, how you feel. Notice the emotions it evokes. Breathe in. Should I change careers? Breathe out. Should I retire early? Set aside all that is happening in the outside world or any tasks that come to mind. If they come to mind, simply let them go. You are being present with these questions. Should I change careers? Should I retire early? What are you looking at? See this question or these questions through the eyes of your deepest values and goals. How does it look when held up against those goals and values? How would I act toward the same but goals and values if I were to change careers or retire? Simply contemplate the question. Does an answer or answers come to mind? How do you feel when you think about what the possibilities are that come in mind? Process these thoughts by dwelling on the possibilities. See in your mind's eye what the outcome would be if you did this or did that or didn't do anything. Consider if you could look at this in a different way. It is okay to feel things like fear or uncertainty. Remember to breathe. You can close your eyes or you can keep them open. Breathe. Should I retire early? Hold your breath. Should I change careers? Let your breath out. What do I feel here? What are the answers that come to mind? Look at everything you have contemplated without judgment. What has come to mind? What insights have you had? How do these insights make you feel? Gently allow yourself to come to some kind of conclusion. Remember that even non-action is an action, but don't let non-action be your reaction. Think of your conclusion to the question that you asked yourself. Continue to breathe. Deep breath in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue to breathe as we ring the bell. If you have closed your eyes, now is the time to open them. If you've had some insight during this time of meditation, think about what you have learned. As soon as you can, write it down. If necessary, take time again in the next several days to repeat this meditation. Then take the next steps toward your decision. In the next video, I'll be outlining the next steps process. If you received some insight from this video during your meditation, I would invite you in the comments below to let me know what that was. If you enjoyed the meditation, please give me a thumbs up. If you have questions about meditation, I have some links below in the descriptions to help you out, in the description to help you out. I'm Amelia. This is Reinventing You. Have a great one.